Have you ever woken up on a quiet morning and asked yourself, how many people do I really need around me to feel happy? At 70, the answer might surprise you. Helen, a 74-year-old woman who once thrived in every social gathering, now finds her greatest peace simply sitting alone on her porch, sipping tea, and watching the trees sway in the wind. She says, "I'm not lonely. I just don't feel the need to please anyone anymore." As we grow older, our priorities shift. We no longer need a wide circle of friends to feel valued. In fact, after 70, you don't need as many friends as you used to. Living independently and learning to care for yourself becomes a more lasting source of happiness. In this video, Life in Words will share 6 reasons why you don't need a lot of friends in old age, and why that's not as scary as it sounds. From freedom and mental clarity to emotional well-being, it can all begin with you. If you're seeking a more peaceful and meaningful life in your later years, don't forget to subscribe to Life in Words for daily inspiring stories to keep your heart full and your spirit strong. Reason 1. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. When we're young, we constantly seek validation at work, in relationships, even in casual conversations. We want others to see that we're capable, interesting, successful. But after 70, that need slowly gives way to something far more precious: freedom. Edward, now 73, was once a successful businessman with hundreds of professional connections. Dinners, meetings, handshakes, polite smiles, they were all just part of the job for many years. But after retiring, he realized something surprising. Most of the people who once called themselves friends disappeared when he no longer held influence or a title. He shared, "That's when it hit me. I spent too much time maintaining relationships where no one really knew who I was." It was during this solitude that Edward found himself again, no longer needing to play a role or win anyone's approval. He started gardening, took up painting, and enjoyed reading quietly every morning. There was nothing to prove anymore, just the peace of living in tune with himself. When you stop seeking validation from the outside, you gain something priceless in return: inner freedom, something no social connection can ever give you. Reason 2. Peace becomes more valuable than social interaction. There's something only age can teach us. Laughter and noise don't always equal happiness. Helen, who we met earlier, was once the life of every party. From weekend tea gatherings to group outings, her calendar was always full. She showed up, smiled, and worked hard to keep everyone connected. But as time went on, it began to wear on her. Some nights, after coming home from a friendly get-together, she just wanted to sit in the dark, not because she was lonely, but because her mind was exhausted from surface-level chatter and forced laughter. And one day, she did something different. She declined every invitation. No texts, no phone calls, just herself, a warm cup of tea, and the afternoon sun spilling through the window. When she stopped talking to not be forgotten, Helen discovered a deeper truth. There's a sweetness in silence that no conversation can replace. This wasn't isolation, it was selection. A quiet choosing of what truly soothes the heart and what only drains it. In that stillness, she found herself again, not loud, not trying, just a soul growing older and savoring life's simplest, gentlest moments. Reason 3. Fewer friends, fewer disappointments. When he was younger, Walter believed that the more friends he had, the fuller and more meaningful life would be. He opened his heart freely, always reached out first, and never hesitated to lend a hand. Birthdays, he sent gifts. Friends sick, he called to check in. But when he needed someone, during his first hospital stay after retirement, All he heard was the echo of the hospital room. He didn't get angry. He just started to realize something. Not every relationship is as solid as we think. Walter had spent years holding on to one-sided friendships, afraid of losing people. But the more he held on, the lonelier he felt, because expectations grew and responses faded. Until one quiet autumn morning, he did something simple, yet life-changing. He let go. He stopped texting first. He stopped trying to keep the friendship alive. He quietly stepped back into fewer but more genuine relationships. Since then, Walter no longer felt disappointed, because he stopped expecting loyalty from people who didn't value his kindness. The biggest lesson he learned? Quality always outweighs quantity. One honest conversation is worth more than 10 hollow gatherings. Reason 4. Time becomes more precious than ever. At 75, Clarence no longer cared whether his schedule looked full or not. In the past, he was the center of every gathering. Monday nights, chess club coffee meetups. Wednesdays, dinner with old co-workers. Weekends, long drives to birthday parties of people he barely knew anymore. He thought being active meant life had meaning. But every time he came home, he felt empty. Then one evening, after another exhausting get-together, Clarence sat quietly in his kitchen, looked at the clock, and whispered, "I'm wasting the best days of my life, just holding on to old habits." From that day forward, he began to choose more carefully. He declined invitations that didn't feel sincere. He stopped showing up just because he felt bad saying no. Instead, he spent his mornings tending to the backyard garden, where his favorite yellow daisies bloomed like clockwork each season. In the afternoons, he revisited the books he once loved as a child, page by page, slowly and with joy. He wasn't busy anymore, but he was living more deeply, because he knew time is no longer limitless like it was at 20. Every moment now is a precious piece of the life he has left. Reason 5. True companionship begins with yourself. Esther used to be the kind of person who never had dinner alone. For nearly 40 years, her daily life revolved around friends, clubs, volunteer groups. Her calendar was so full, she sometimes had to schedule a few minutes just to rest. But after a sudden hospitalization from exhaustion, everything came to a halt. No more phone calls. No more laughter around the dinner table. Just her, alone, and the silence stretching long and deep. At first, the quiet felt suffocating. But then, something unexpected happened. One morning, she made herself a simple breakfast, set the table nicely, and played an old favorite song from her youth. In that moment, she didn't feel lonely. She felt at peace. She began journaling, meditating, taking quiet walks. She stopped chasing shallow relationships, and she began to understand. The most important friendship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. As Esther learned to enjoy her own company, she became calmer, lighter, more at ease. And the most beautiful thing happened. When she stopped trying to please others, the people who truly cared for her began to show up, naturally, genuinely. Reason 6. Letting go opens the door to a fuller life. Gerald used to be someone who couldn't say no. Even in his 70s, he kept showing up at monthly reunions with his old work friends, same stories, same faces, and each time he came home, he felt drained. He told himself, keeping in touch is just part of aging gracefully. But with every gathering, his heart grew heavier. The laughter wasn't real anymore, and no one ever asked how he was really doing. Then one day, Gerald made a quiet decision. He didn't go. He turned off his phone, walked to the lake near his home, and sat for hours just listening to the wind and watching the still water. No pressure, no waiting, no small talk. Just him, truly himself, for the first time in years. Letting go of relationships that no longer served him didn't make Gerald feel lonely. It made him feel free. From that day on, he began doing the things he had put off for years. Painting, learning to cook his late wife's favorite Indian dishes, writing a few thoughts down each evening. No need to maintain an image, no need to please anyone. Just living, honestly, slowly, and fully. Gerald discovered something profound. Letting go isn't losing. It's opening a new door to a life that's quieter, deeper, and finally your own. In the end, what truly matters in old age isn't how many people surround you, but how much peace you carry within you. You don't need a crowded room to feel worthy. You just need a quiet heart, one that listens to your true self. After 70, every passing moment becomes more precious, and you have the power to choose, to keep living in tiring social circles, or to embrace a simpler, gentler, and more meaningful life. Take a moment to reflect on the people around you. Who brings you joy? Who makes you feel like you can just be you? And what are you still holding on to, just out of habit or others' expectations? Don't be afraid to live less socially. Dare to live more deeply, more fully, and most importantly, for yourself. If you're looking for inspiration to live with more depth, grace, and authenticity, subscribe to Life in Words, a place where we share stories that touch the heart and celebrate the quiet beauty of aging well. You deserve a life that feels light and truly meaningful. Let that life begin today.